My sister's laughter used to be my favorite sound, but now it's a knife twisting in my gut. I stood in the marble foyer of our Manhattan penthouse, staring at the letter from my parents, their words dripping with entitlement. $35,000 for Lila's dream wedding. You owe us. Owe them for what birthing me into a family that only calls when they need a check. I married Ethan Caldwell, billionaire heir to a real estate empire, and suddenly my family saw me as their personal ATM. The letter crinkled in my fist as I fought the urge to scream. This wasn't just about money, it was about love, loyalty, and the lies we tell to keep families from falling apart. My name is Ava. Growing up in a small Ohio town, I was the responsible one. I worked two jobs to put myself through college while my younger sister, Lila, flitted through life, charming everyone with her dimpled smile. My parents adored her, their golden child, while I was the workhorse. When I met Ethan at a charity gala, it wasn't love at first sight, it was a slow burn, built on late-night talks and shared dreams. We married 2 years ago, and I thought I'd finally found my place. But my family, they saw dollar signs the moment I said I do. The letter arrived on a crisp October morning. Ethan was at a board meeting, and I was alone, sipping coffee, when the doorman handed me the envelope. My mother's looping handwriting was unmistakable, but the tone was new, demanding, almost threatening. Lila deserves a perfect wedding. It read, "You've got the means now. Ava, don't be selfish." Selfish. The word stung like a slap. I'd sent them money before $5,000 for Dad's car repair, $10,000 for Mom's medical bills, but this was different. $35,000 wasn't a request. It was a ransom for their approval. I called Lila, hoping for clarity. "Ava, it's not a big deal," she said, her voice light, like she was asking for a loaner dress. "You're rich now. What's $35,000 to you?" Her casual dismissal hit harder than the letter. I remembered the nights I'd stayed up helping her with homework, the times I'd covered her rent when she forgot to pay. I thought we were sisters, not debtor and creditor. "Lila," I said, my voice trembling, "do you even care how this feels?" She laughed. "Don't be dramatic. It's just money." I hung up, my heart a tangle of anger and grief. Ethan came home that evening, his tie loosened, his dark hair slightly mussed. He sensed my mood instantly. "What's wrong?" "Love," he asked, pulling me into his arms. I showed him the letter, expecting him to be outraged. Instead, he frowned, thoughtful. "Maybe we should help," he said. "They're your family." His words were meant to comfort. Felt like a betrayal. Ethan grew up with wealth. He didn't understand the weight of obligation, the way it could choke you. I pulled away, my voice sharp. "It's not about the money, Ethan. It's about them thinking I owe them my happiness." The next week was a blur of arguments, not just with Ethan, but with myself. Should I say no and risk losing my family? Or say yes and let them keep pulling the strings? I pictured Lila's wedding, her in a designer gown, my parents beaming, all on my dime. The image made my stomach churn. But then I remembered Mom's tired eyes, Dad's calloused hands, Lila's infectious laugh. They were flawed, but they were mine. Maybe I could meet them halfway. Maybe I could show them I wasn't the selfish daughter they painted me to be. I called a family meeting at our penthouse. They arrived, all three of them, dressed like they were auditioning for a life they didn't lead. Mom wore a knockoff designer scarf. Dad's suit was a size too big, and Lila, God. Lila looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine, her engagement ring glinting under the chandelier. I'd planned to be firm, to set boundaries, but their expectant smiles disarmed me. "We'll give you the $35,000, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Lila squealed, hugging me. Mom nodded, as if it was only right. Dad just grunted. Good girl. But I wasn't done. If I was going to do this, it would be on my terms. I spent the next day researching, not wedding venues or caterers, but something smaller, something that would sting. I found it on a whim, a vintage necklace, listed online for $100. It was simple, a silver chain with a tiny sapphire pendant, nothing like the opulence Lila craved. I bought it, wrapped it in a velvet box, and drove to their hotel the next day. Here, I said, handing it to Lila. This is my gift to you. For your wedding. Her smile faltered as she opened the box. Ava, what is this? She asked, her voice sharp. I thought you were giving us $35,000. I am, I said, my heart pounding. The money's for your wedding. This is from me, your sister. It's not much, but it's real. The room went silent. Mom's face tightened. Dad looked away, and Lila's eyes filled with tears, not gratitude, but anger. You're mocking me, she spat. You live in this fancy penthouse, and you give me this cheap thing. I wanted to scream, to tell her about the nights I'd cried over their demands. But I held my ground. It's not about the price, Lila. It's about love. If you can't see that, maybe you don't know me at all. The fallout was immediate. Lila stormed out. Mom called me ungrateful, and Dad just shook his head. Ethan, who'd been silent, finally spoke. Ava, why didn't you just give them what they wanted? His question cut deeper than Lila's tantrum. I turned to him, my voice breaking. Because I'm not a bank. Ethan, I'm their daughter, their sister, their wife. I deserve to be more than a paycheck. For the first time, I saw something shift in his eyes, understanding. Maybe even guilt. Days turned into weeks, and the silence from my family was deafening. The $35,000 sat untouched in their account. Lila refused to use it, calling it tainted. I should have felt vindicated, but all I felt was loss. I'd given them everything: money, love, chances, and they'd chosen pride over me. Ethan tried to bridge the gap, inviting them to dinner, but they declined. They'll come around, he said, but I wasn't so sure. One night, I found myself staring at the necklace, still in its box. I'd kept it after Lila threw it back at me. It wasn't much, but it was honest, a piece of me. Not my bank account. I slipped it on, the sapphire cool against my skin, and felt a strange peace. I'd spent years trying to buy my family's love, but maybe love wasn't something you could buy. Maybe it was something you had to demand, even if it meant standing alone. Months later, I got a call from Lila. Her voice was soft, hesitant. The wedding's off, she said. Jake left me. I waited for the ask, the inevitable plea for money, but it didn't come. Instead, she said, I kept the necklace. I wear it sometimes. I'm sorry. Ava. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start. I didn't know if we'd ever be the sisters we once were, but I held on to hope. Families break, but they can mend too if you're willing to fight for it. Ethan and I grew stronger through it all. He learned to see my side, to understand that wealth doesn't erase wounds. I learned to set boundaries, to value myself beyond what I could give. The necklace became my reminder: love is priceless, but it's not free. It demands respect from others and from yourself. What do you think? Did Ava do the right thing by standing her ground? Or should she have given in to keep the peace? Share your thoughts. And